Welcome to the Knowing Show. I am your host, Christene Marie. I am so thrilled to be here with you all tonight. Sometimes it is very apparent to me more than others just how meaningful this opportunity is to be here with you and be live together. So much content is mass produced and there's scripts and lights and people and cameras and action and all the things. And y'all, I'm just being reminded tonight of the importance of community and the importance of showing up as we are and the importance of showing up authentically and how we are in that moment too. Because sometimes, I've actually had a 61-day challenge over the last, it'll be 61 days July 1st. So I've had this 61-day challenge ever since, I guess it was the beginning of May. So we're well in. And man, I was reminded over this time, my 61-day challenge to myself was to create one piece of content every single day. And as I've been doing this, I have realized that the way that I'm showing up in that moment, and showing up by way of like, okay, what is the mental state, emotional state, physical state in which I am here in this moment that I'm creating from this place. And y'all, man, I just want to take a quick moment. We are intended to be creators. So much of when we get on the show here and we talk and we converse here in the chat on YouTube, and also sometimes we'll get some outliers on Facebook and LinkedIn, but for so much of the time when we're commenting and engaging in the chat, we're being reminded of the importance of creation, to be creators, to sit in the seat of the creator, of the artist, of the painter, of the sculptor and the singer, and allowing something that's within us to come out. And there's something about moving from the place of consumer to creator. Man, it's really, really potent. And it doesn't always mean that what comes out is going to be, actually rarely does it mean that what comes out is going to be perfect. And I actually think that is the process and perhaps even the art form of creation. I've never thought about that until this moment, that if we are truly creating, it will never be perfect because it will be something truly original, truly unique. It won't actually measure up to anyone else's standard if we're creating from an authentic place and truly inspired of origin, rather than a mere copy of something else. We can sit there, they have the wine, what is it? The wine and painting nights, where you've got something in front of you and you're all painting the same picture. But when we're thinking about true creation, it's allowing kind of that blank slate, and it's allowing for whatever's happening inside of us, whatever's happening around us, to come together. It's like where the physical and the existential meet. And all of a sudden, it's birthing something within us that's truly, truly original, truly unique. No one else has had that thought because they've never had that same experience. But if we're not creating space and time for us to be able to sit and observe and watch and listen to the world around us, but also to within us, we're not going to ever really be able to tap into that true, genuine creativity within us. And we'll just be merely copying and mimicking everyone around us because that's the only thing that we're listening or observing. So the more we're aware of even just our physical reality in our physical world, and then we're listening to our emotions, and then we're engaging our mind, and we're kind of engaging all of our internal faculties and connected with the external world. Where are you? What's the experience you're having? Now it's like the blending of those is what fuels creativity. And it's like when they all light up, when they're all ignited. Like imagine if you would to close your eyes and there's the 4 different quadrants of a person. There's the intellect, there's the emotional part of you, there's the spiritual part of you, and the physical part of you. And it's like when all of those are connected, all of them are operating and turned on, like the light switch is on. Now creation comes forth, something unique, something that no one else has ever seen or touched because it's never been experienced, because no one else has your unique soul, your unique spirit, and your unique story of where you physically are in the world. It's so interesting when we think about creation. It's so much dependent on our ability to set aside the external noise and set aside our own selves from kind of being an outside looking in on what's going on in kind of the chaos of the world that so many of us are just operating in, like the go, go, go. We're driving through life and driving through our day, and we're not taking a moment. We're not taking a pause. And so creation comes in the pause. It's in the silence. And so I did a 61-day challenge starting in May where I was forcing myself to create every day. And it wasn't anything big, but it was some piece of either writing or most often it was writing, because that was my challenge, was to write something new every day. But even along the way, as I found myself in a unique physical setting where I was traveling in LA, I found myself sharing, not even just sharing more of my own experience, but I found myself paying attention to my experience more because I was looking for opportunity to create. This is the thing about these great artists. You know, Michelangelo, one of the things that made him great, he actually went and dug up cadavers and cut them open to look at the human biology, to see like the anatomy of the human being and like how were we created. And that was entirely illegal at the time. But then he was able to sculpt David. And so if we're paying attention to our physical surroundings and we're looking for opportunities for creation, we're going to be looking and listening and learning in a completely different way. If we're kind of preset, you know, it's like our dials of our, like I like to think of it as going to the optometrist where you push your face forward and then the dials change. If our dials have shifted to be ones of curiosity, to be ones of kind of, I'm a student and I'm going to observe what's going on in the world around me for the purpose of creation. Now everything becomes a lesson. Now everything becomes an opportunity to receive. It's going to come in me and now it's going to come out of me. I love this. Saint Benedict says God spoke it into existence. And so there's the speaking, there's the authoring, there's the conjuring forth from what is within us, so long as we take time to even recognize what's within us to begin with. And how does what's within us connect to the physical world without us? And then how does that kind of combust into creation? And so over the last 50 days or so, we're coming up to the 61-day approach. Over the last 50-ish days, 48, 47 days, I've been really looking around. And over these past couple of days, I've ended up creating bouquets. And I've sat down, I actually got a piano and I've started playing piano more. And the other day I pulled up, you know, I haven't played piano in so long, but I found a couple of chords that I could play along with to different songs that I knew. And I just started playing and singing with it. And y'all, there's something about just having that preset lens. I'm going to be a student. I'm going to be curious about the way that I'm observing the world. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's okay to fail. So the ability to get over the desire for perfection and the ability to get over the hump of fear of failure allows then for this ability to try and know that it's not going to be perfect, because perfection can only measure to a pre-existing standard. And therefore nothing authentic can really come into being. You know, you look at some of these paintings and you look at some of the music, like, okay, I'm not going to say this perfectly, but one of the things that was iconic about the Beach Boys, my dad taught me this last year. He started getting into the Beach Boys and he had never heard of them and he never really had heard much of their music. And he was like, I listened to this song. And I was like, I know, it's awesome. But what he learned was that the Beach Boys were so iconic because they added in like another dimension of the layer of the chords that had never been done before. And so they actually invented and created a new dimension of music that had never been in existence. Technically, that's very imperfect because it doesn't match the standard. But if we're willing and we're brave enough to move into this place of true creation, then and only then can we allow for something truly original, truly unique, and truly imperfect, because it's not going to measure the standard of what everyone else has mass produced. So I just want to jump here in the chat. Brian says, every block of stone has a statue inside it, and it is a task of the sculptor to discover it. Ah, I love that. Guy that comments, why are you changing your streaming time so much? Good question. I will actually answer that. So for those of you who are just new to the show, I usually go live at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. And y'all, I have been getting so much business, which I'm so grateful for. I have been like up to my neck. I feel like I'm like not drowning yet, but slowly. So I onboarded somebody last week. She's going to be the project manager. I onboarded somebody, gosh, her official day actually is going to be, I onboarded her officially today, but then we're doing our first call Friday. So I'm going to be back to going live at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific here pretty soon, but I've been doing this as a struggle to survive. Because, and you know what, guy that comments, I'm actually really glad you said something, because I actually wondered. I was like, does it even matter if I'm not going live the same time every day? So thank you. Thank you for saying something. Gaurav, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Guy that comments, it's great news. Thank you. I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, it's been busy and good. Y'all, I would love to hear, for those of you who are joining, I would love to hear, what are you like? Do you think of yourself as a creator? Is there something that you're open to creating, open to trying? Just put it here in the chat. I would love to see. And it could be, you know, a lot of people are really big into AI right now. A lot of people are really big into like creating video games and creating apps and creating art virtually and digitally. And so it doesn't have to be something necessarily with our hands. Maybe you're creating a car. It was so interesting. I watched a guy. I was driving on the highway and I saw this truck and I was like, what the heck is that? And they had these like two radiators in the back pickup bed, I guess. And it was like these two radiators that looked like they were like going to catch fire the second he went. There was no what's it called? I know what this is. It's the bed of the truck, and then it's the thing that goes down. That had been just completely taken away. So he clearly had created his truck. And I just love that. I love that so much. And y'all, that's kind of the goal, is like, what lights you up? How can we spend more time creating in our lives rather than just sitting and consuming, rather than sitting and hearing what other people think and reading what other people write? But where and how can we start thinking for ourselves? Like, what do I think about this? And starting to write, and starting maybe even to play a melody that no one's taught you, or sing a song that you're just kind of making up the, thank you, Brian, tailgate. You're just kind of making up the melody, or you're making up the words. And y'all, there's something in the freedom of creation where you're not doing or being for anybody else, but it's truly for almost like the beauty and honor of beauty itself, because it is beauty. Creation is beauty, even if it's that kind of weird artwork that I don't understand, and it's like this dead animal, but like there's beauty in there, I know. And I think that there's something that it's being expressed through creation. So I guess one way to consider is like, what's life-giving for you? What are you investing your time into? What's the release of like your soul and your spirit and the parts of you that otherwise, sitting at a desk 9 to 5, never see the light of day? So what's the release? What's life-giving? But then also, you know, I'd be curious, like, what actually could be expressed in a way that words cannot convey, but it can only be conveyed through maybe even poetry. So I guess words could convey that, but not normal verbose phrases, but it's like poetry or music or lyrics, or maybe just song and melody, you know, or painting even. So what could be released that's kind of feels trapped inside of you? And then also, what's life-giving? So it's creation for multiple different reasons. There's the unlock and the release and the pouring out. And then there's, you kind of glean and gain on the other side of it, because you're yielding so much joy from the investment in creation. Just jumping back here in the chat. Oh, guy that comment says, sometimes changing it up in stream hours helps promote your live stream. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm so glad to know that. Underboss, thank you. It's good to see you. There's beauty in destruction. I've never been to, what is it? The room, like, what are the destruction rooms? Where the smash rooms, is that what they're called? They're literally like, you're just going in to destruct. Oh my gosh. Gaurav, thank you. I'm so appreciate your comment. Turgut, thank you for joining. Hello to Turkey. I've always wanted to go to Turkey. I'm sure it's so beautiful. Jeremiah, hello. Thanks for joining. James Alva, hello. I'm glad to see you. MW, hello from Germany. Eric, thanks for joining. Chris Naldo, England robbed Croatia of the World Cup. I haven't watched it. I'm actually going to the World Cup in Houston next week, so I'm excited for that. All right, let's go ahead, y'all, and we're going to dive into today's lesson, lesson 168. Your grace is given me. I claim it now. God speaks to us. Shall we not speak to him? He is not distant. He makes no attempt to hide from us. We try to hide from him and suffer from deception. He remains entirely accessible. He loves his Son. There is no certainty but this, yet it suffices. He will love his Son forever. When his mind remains when his mind remains asleep, he loves him still. And when his mind awakes, he loves him with a never-changing love. If you but knew the meaning of his love, hope and despair would be impossible. For hope would be forever satisfied, and despair for any kind unthinkable. His grace, his answer to all his answer is to all despair, for in it lies remembrance of his love. Would he not gladly give the means by which his will is recognized? His grace is yours by your acknowledgement, and memory of him awakens in the mind that asks the means of him whereby its sleep is done. Today we ask of God the gifts he has most carefully preserved within our hearts, waiting to be acknowledged. This is the gift by which God leans to us and lifts us up, taking salvation's final step himself. All steps but this we learn, instructed by his voice. But finally, he comes himself and takes us in his arms and sweeps away the cobwebs of our sleep. His gift of grace is more than just an answer. It restores all memories the sleeping mind forgot, all certainty of what love's meaning is. God loves his Son. Request him now to give the means by which the world will disappear, and vision first will come, with knowledge, but an instant later. For in grace you see a light that covers all the world in love, and watch fear disappear from every face as hearts rise up and claim the light as theirs. What now remains that heaven be delayed an instant longer? What is still undone when your forgiveness rests on it? It is a new and holy day today, for we receive what has been given us. Our faith lies in the giver, not our own acceptance. We acknowledge our mistakes, but he to whom all error is unknown is yet the one who answers our mistakes by giving us the means to lay them down and rise to him in gratitude and love. And he descends to meet us as we come to him. For what he has prepared for us, he gives and we receive. Such is his will because he loves his Son. To him we pray today, returning to the word he gave to us through his own voice, his word, his love. Your grace is given me. I claim it now. Father, I come to you, and you will come to me who ask. I am the Son you love. I love this line. His gift of grace is more than just an answer. It restores all memories the sleeping mind forgot, all certainty of what love's meaning is. Y'all, there's something in creation where, to even answer and kind of pull in the theme from this of like God's voice and who are we listening to? It's so important that we recognize the clear distinction between if we are able to go within and listen to our soul, our spirit, even our physical body, like what is going on around us and how does that integrate with every part of our core intelligence, our intellectual mind, our soul, our emotions, our spirit, our physical body. The more we can integrate the internal and external world, the more creation is a result of that. That's the outpouring. That's what the integration of the human intelligence produces. It's creativity. It's creation. We become co-creators with our creator. We begin mirroring him when we are fully alive and fully aligned. We become the best and most optimal version of who he created us to be in the first place, which is a creator. And so this question of who are you listening to? Are you observing and absorbing everything out there and bringing that in? And that's now kind of the naysayer in your mind. And that has the microphone, other people's opinions, expectations, even just societal, this is the way we do it. How much of that is in the driver's seat of our minds and even our souls? Like our emotions are wrapped around this idol of cultural acceptance and cultural, this is the way it is, versus our ability to kind of shed that and go inward and actually listen to what is our experience, rather than having our experience informed by everyone else's opinion of what we should feel, what we should think, what we should do with our lives. Instead, well, who was I created to be in the first place? What are my unique gifts? And so this concept, his gift of grace, is more than just an answer. It restores all memories the sleeping mind forgot, all certainty of what love's meaning is. Y'all, there's something around going inward and listening that we come to almost remember. So much of society talks about finding yourself, but perhaps it's more so going and remembering, who was I created to be in the first place, that just got covered with layers and layers of other people's opinions and expectations. And, sometimes our nurture in childhood, the way we're raised, is really good. And sometimes it needs to be dismantled and just examined. How much of that nurture was healthy, and how much of that do I want to take with me for the rest of my life versus that needs to stay back there. that stays in the past. So to this point of who are we listening to, the answer of that and to that question will determine our ability to create. It will determine our ability to live authentically, to operate from this true place that is something unique that nobody else can experience, because no one else has your unique soul and spirit and physical experiences. Oh, my camera just fell off. This is why I have, not camera, my light. I have this little light. This is why I have it, because it's so dark otherwise. But it broke, so I need to get a new one. But y'all, that's why we have to know who we are, honestly, because it's just so easy to kind of be absorbed into what everyone else thinks, and then we just become a mime. When you go to the circus and everyone's like doing like the little mime thing, and they like, you see the mime and they're just mimicking everything that they see and do or see done around them. No, we live that way, apart from intentional creation, apart from the ability to activate our unique cultivation of the intelligence, emotions, spirit, and physical body. It is the integration of those that allows for us to continue to create as a result of truly awakening and mirroring the one who created us. Just jumping in the chat, Oliver says, pay your power bill. You know what's so funny? I have a light fixture above me. Oh, you can see it in the mirror right there. I didn't get light bulbs yet. I have them sitting in my Amazon cart, or they're probably clicked save for later. So yeah, you're right. It's not my power bill. That's paid. I need to buy new light bulbs and put it in that light fixture. That's so funny. Oliver. Bang Top, hello. I'm so glad to see you. Caleb Crow, please feel free to ask a question. Superman language. People create their world looking at others. Isn't that the truth? Man. King, why do you still have emotions? It's so funny. I really thought that emotions were like the bane of my existence for the majority of my 20s. I really truly believe that. And my like the health of my relationship, we wouldn't fight if I just shut up and didn't feel anything. It was great. Like really, as long as I didn't feel anything, it was fine. And it worked out great. And then I read a book called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown that really made a significant impact on me. And I learned that emotions are actually something to be honored. They're kind of automatic sensations within us. They're not something that we're contriving or something that is a sign of weakness. It's really a matter of, okay, this is data and this has information for me. The goal is that I learn how to listen to it, and then I'll make my own decision. Thank you very much. My emotions aren't at the helm of the ship, but they have data to inform the direction the ship goes. And maybe we hear the data and it's like, hey, by the way, this person was really dangerous in the past. Don't entrust yourself to them again. And you're like, got it, cool. Well, they've made bad business decisions in the past, but they're on the board of a board, that I'm on. And so I still have to interact with them, but I'll be careful. Or maybe that person, your data says, hey, this person's really unsafe. Don't do business with them. And you're like, you know what? I'm actually going to get off the board because I see how much power they're influencing all the rest of the board of directors. And I'm out because of this one person. And I've got data that shows that this person cannot be trusted. So if everyone else is trusting them, frankly, it shows their bad judgment and I'm going to remove myself. That's just an example of how our emotions hold data and it gives us insight into the way that we operate in every area of our lives, business, our family, going and volunteering. Our emotions are a part of us that we need to pay attention to. Doctor Who, what, where? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Sour says, Song of Solomon. Oliver says, is that a new house? I moved here a couple months ago. I've been gone so much. I keep flying back to Maryland, actually. I've had a couple deaths in the family, and it's been a weird month. So, or a couple months, I guess. So I haven't really fully made myself at home yet here. The power company be scamming you. Keep the AI centers running. Guy that comments. That's so funny. Sergi, good to see you. I don't know where you got that from, but that's funny. All right, scrolling up. Oh, interesting. Caleb says, at what point is curiosity a sin? Does science and religion have to be mutually exclusive? I understand his creation, but want to know more. There's a couple different questions here. I believe, I'll tell you something I believe that is only in the last few years. I really believe that we are intended to live holistic with integrating our mind, body, soul, spirit, and that we're not supposed to go to the religious world and shut off our mind. And we're not supposed to go to the intellectual world and shut off our spirit. I think every single part of us, and I've experienced this firsthand. I've watched entrepreneurs go and, I'll host knowing retreats. And so we'll be in really intimate settings where there's 5 to 10 of us in a room for 48, 72 hours, and people get really honest. And it is only when every part of our faculties are switched on and we're fully present with our families, with our businesses, with our employees, every level of analysis, mind, body, soul, spirit, man, it's electric. That's when change really happens at every level. Change financially, we're able to make impact in the community. We're able to really show up and serve. So it's not about reserving the spirit for a religious context or reserving the intellect for the business. It's about bringing and marrying every part of us so that the way we show up at home, we're fully alive and fully present. And yes, maybe more so the family and relationships are maybe more so hinged on the health of you emotionally, whereas business, you really got to be smart intellectually in so many ways. But y'all, I got to tell you, AI is coming in hot, replacing our IQ in so many ways. So at the end of the day, maybe actually the cultivation of the other parts of us are what's most desirable for us to do business with people while these robots are kind of really running the show. It is wild. I'll just talk business for just a second. Local service businesses, it's coming to the point where no longer are homeowners calling a plumbing service for their pricing. They are going to the local map pack. So it's anytime you search, plumbers near me, you'll see the map with all the listings of all the different businesses close by. Some are sponsored, some aren't. It's organic versus paid. And you have the opportunity now, not in every area, but you're going to start seeing this more where it says request a quote. That Google agent will go and scan that website. They'll scan the reviews. They'll go and kind of go into the back end of the website, and then they will give that homeowner a price. And then the homeowner's going to say, that's too expensive. They never gave that business a shot. Bots are starting to do business with each other. And we're only going to see more and more and more of this, especially as more people start having personalized agents for themselves that they've been feeding their ChatGPT. And so they're actually trusting their ChatGPT, either their Claude or Perplexity, to go out and make purchases for them. So we're going to be seeing more purchases done within these AI tools. And it's starting slowly, but this is kind of the wild, wild west. We're going to see a lot of crazy things. So when we realize that no longer are people doing business in that way, well, then what makes us valuable as an employee? It's our ability to show up and, yes, manage the bots and have the intellectual intelligence of manning the prompts and managing the outputs and putting it all together and being strategic and having vision and all of that. But creativity and imagination doesn't actually come from the IQ. It actually comes from the right hemisphere of the brain. Visioning and dreaming and imagining what's possible of how we could use these bots and integrate them into our business doesn't come from the left hemisphere of the brain. It comes from the right. That's where our emotions live. So we need to be cultivating both parts of our brain and never living in silos, saying, oh, well, this part's this part's reserved for the family and this part's reserved for business. How much do our kids want to engage with us and who we are? Not just, yeah, I'll sit on the floor on my phone while at least I'm putting in physical time with you. No, they want your mind, body, soul, spirit. They want all of you. And they can tell when you're there and when you're not. Just jumping here into the chat, scrolling up. King ISO says, but when it boils down, aren't emotions a primitive form of finding reason and purpose instead of actually programming yourself to become better and closer to the image of that which made you? I love that. I love that point. Okay, so I'm gonna dig into this for just a second. Gaurav, if you're still there, we're going probably for the full hour. He asked me the other day, he was like, why don't you go for a full hour anymore? And so here we are. King ISO, I'm so glad you said that, because listening to emotions and to what's going on inside of us here and now in the present is important. And that's just the beginning. So I want to talk quickly about the knowing framework. And this is something that I talk a lot in my book that's going to be coming out in a couple, I'll say, I don't know when it's coming out. I've got to sit with it this weekend, and who knows. I really found this framework by doing this work myself. And then I kind of looked back in hindsight and was like, oh, like that's the process I went through. So I like to think of it as 3 questions. And the 3 questions are so important, because to your point, it's not about a primitive form. It says, aren't emotions a primitive form of finding reason and purpose instead of actually programming yourself to become better and closer to the image of that which made you? So he's talking about a couple of different things that we talk about a lot here on the show. So the knowing framework is a set of 3 questions. First, who was I? Understanding, what did I experience in childhood? What were core experiences for me that formed narratives in terms of the way I see myself, the world, and those around me? God even. These experiences in childhood shaped our mind and set in place a set of programs, a set of patterns on, okay, this is the way the world operates. This is my place in it. This is what other people are going to do to me. If this, then that. We developed a black and white set of rules, like a rules engine, that if this happens, then this is what's going to happen on the results of it, on the other side of it. We don't have enough experiences in childhood to weigh in nuance, to weigh in 2 opposing opposites, but both can be true. We don't have that emotional maturity, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 even, to process these really big extremes. And so we set in place that program. So who was I? That's the first question of the knowing framework. And understanding what were those core experiences, this set into motion, this program that's guiding my life. And then the second question, well, who am I? How do those old programs set in place 5, 10, 15 run my life today? What are the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual manifestations of those narratives based on those old experiences? So an example of that is that, I have an experience when I'm 3 years old that I draw this narrative around the world that if I cry, if I show emotion, I will get physically punished for that. Because when I was 3, I got spanked when I was crying, not by my parents. And so I have this subconscious association. Tears and vulnerability equal pain, physical pain. So now, who am I today? Don't show emotions. That's stupid. You're going to get spanked. And obviously, I know logically I'm not going to get spanked as an adult, but emotionally, I don't know that, because my body, here's the thing that's crazy about our minds, is that it doesn't realize the past from the present. So until we go and rewire that old program and say, you know what, that old data, yes, that happened. And yes, who was I? That's very real. And it's showing up in my life in a very real way. But I'm choosing, this leads to the third question. Well, who do I want to be? How do I want to relate to emotions? I used to think emotions equated to physical pain. Yet, even though that happened to me at 3 years old, I have 20 years worth of data showing that if I cry around a friend or around a family member, I actually get a hug. So it's time to update that old system. And so rather than just doing away with some of these old programs, we have to put something new in its place, because otherwise we're just going to end up repeating history. We're not going to be able to make a lateral 180 change if we don't set a new target. We're going to do a 360 loop. We're going to repeat history. That's what we see over and over and over again. People are like, including me at 25, 28 years old, I'm like, I'm just like my mother and I love my mom. But I was acting like her, and she was a stay-at-home mom to 6 kids. I was a working woman with no kids. So I actually can't be like my mom because our life circumstances are entirely different. So I need a new model. I need a new target. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be against my own giftings, my own unique call? We started off this entire conversation around creation and answering the question of, well, who are you listening to? Are we listening to those old narratives, or are we intentionally creating a new path, a new way of showing up in the world, a new program that's going to replace the old ones? Y'all, this is how change occurs in our lives, is that we recognize the old, we see how it's showing up in our lives, we honor that, and then we set a new target. And only then can we have that lateral 180 change. I'm just going to jump back here in the chat. Hi, Dominic. I'm glad you're here. Just scrolling down. All right, let me scroll down. Okay. Something else. Hello. The ever loving outdoors. I'd love to know what you do outdoors. I haven't hiked much, but it does seem like fun. Dylan, hello. Just looking through some chats. WS, be yourself. I love that. JP, hello. Ryder, you can't repeat the now present unless you're on the other side. Ooh, that's good. The Maisie, yes, it does. Sour, I'm sorry, says, why my soul right now is overprogrammed. Jay Lambino, hello. God's Armor, hello. Something else, hello. Tom Islov, hello. All right, just scrolling down. The man, hello. I'm glad to see you. Uncle, hello. Thank you for joining. JP. Like updating our emotional / inner outer AI positively. Gaurav, that's interesting. Y'all, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciated the questions and the insight tonight on the chat. I really, really, really enjoyed our conversation. Let me check my schedule for tomorrow to see if I will be on tomorrow morning. I have 2 proposals that I need to write tonight. So let me see if I have a show tomorrow. Oh, I do. I have a knowing show tomorrow afternoon. Glenn Hugo is coming back, which I'm super excited for. Everybody really, really, really liked him last time. He'll be on at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So come and join us tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then who knows, maybe we'll stay on a little bit after and just hang out, the lot of us. Y'all, thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. I'll see you soon. Southeast needs some light bulbs in the in the chandelier. I know. I'm gonna work on that, y'all. I will order light bulbs right after this. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll see you soon.